Hi, this is Lucas Faust from Faust Law Office. I am here with this month's Lawyer of the Month, Joel Silverman from Silverman Law Office. How are you, Joel?
Doing great, Lucas. How are you today?
Great. Hey, through the magic of Zoom, you are in Phoenix. I am in Bozeman. And how is Phoenix these days?
It's absolutely beautiful. Supposed to hit 70 degrees today, and here we are in the middle of December.
I know it was 40 when I was out this morning, and it is amazing. I'm jealous. It is Phoenix in this time of year is very, very nice. So I'm very jealous. So let's talk a little bit about yourself, Joel. Tell us. I ask everybody this question, whether I'm in a jury trial or wherever I am, setting your faith and your family aside. Those are two very important things for all of us. Setting those things aside, tell us, what is the passion in your life, Joel? What gets you out of bed in the morning?
It's a great question. Our why? Why do we do what we do? Right. I love, number one, family is huge for me, but outside of that, it then is about my business, my practice of law, helping families, helping businesses strive, succeed, helping families protect assets through their estate planning or succession planning in their businesses. And then last but not least is always getting outdoors, spending some time on the water, fishing, hiking. I just love being outside when I can.
Well, that's great. So that starting, do you have a particular time of year that you like the best to go fly fishing and spend some time in the rivers?
I'm a little nutty, I happen to be down in Phoenix visiting family this week, but when I'm in Montana, it's year round. Even like I was showing my father a picture last night of a New Year's Day. We have a tradition where we try and fish every New Year's Day, and one year it was about 10 degrees. And the river was freezing around us. The Missouri River was while we were fishing. So we're pretty diehard, the group that I fish with.
Nice. Well, good. Hey, you got to find ways to get out in this, especially even when it's a little nasty out. That's great. Well, good. So I want to talk to you a little bit about trusts. That's one of the things that we go to you for. Tell us a little bit about what a trust is, how it works, how it operates when folks maybe are looking for one, or when they're in a position where they might need a trust. What is that?
You bet, Lucas. So I like to talk about a trust in terms of a will and a trust. So a will is a document that we sign, and it doesn't really become effective until we put it in front of the court after we die. When we die, the will becomes effective. The court then takes on who's the personal representative, and that's how your assets get transferred, is by the personal representative acting from the authority of the court. A trust is a lot more, to think of it like an LLC, a company. A trust is created while we're alive, and it holds our assets. And it's really only effective if it actually holds our assets. So meaning, like, your bank accounts are held in the name of the trust. Your home is held in the name of the trust. And a trust is still just a legal document like a will, but it's effective immediately, and it lists a trustee, much like a CEO of a company. And that trustee then is the person who handles all the assets of the trust for whomever the beneficiaries are designated in that trust. And that trust can go on for a long period of time. It's not just a set short period. It's not just during someone's life. It can go on for several lives, depending on the way the trust is written.
And what is it? The benefits of a trust? Does it protect assets? What does it do to help the person who is the beneficiary of that corporation? Kind of like a company.
Yeah. So great one. So when we think of a trust does two things. Number one, it helps us avoid probate. So if we are concerned about probate assets, we may want to do a trust for that, or assets in multiple states. There's that kind of trust. There's also what I like to call a protective trust, protective for the individual that it's designed for. So an easy example, Lucas, is that you and I work together a lot of times with these protective trusts with the sole intent of protecting a beneficiary who has, say, limited capacity. They're limited physically, they're limited mentally, they could be limited financially, and all of a sudden they're coming into a big financial windfall. And what we want the trust to do is to protect that person from others, from unscrupulous people. And we also want to protect that person for the rest of their lives financially, so that that person knows that they are secure financially for the rest of their lives, because that is the trustee's job, is to make sure that those finances are protected within that trust.
And the trustee kind of takes the role as a protector in a circumstance like that, making certain that a deal that the person's entering into is above board, they're being treated properly, those types of things. Is that fair?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good point that I didn't even get to, because that's beef. That's really in a lot of ways before the trust even gets started, is
Yeah.
that person is being brought on board to protect that person's interest. The trust gets created and they get appointed as the trustee to continue that protection of the individual.
So one of the things about it, we have spouses, we have family members who are all in a household. When this person ends up in an unfortunate situation where they maybe have diminished capacity, are those folks, this asset's protected so they can continue to contribute to the family? Is that a good way to put it?
It is, because what we want to ensure is not just the individual necessarily, but oftentimes we have language in there that talks about the maintenance and support of the individual, which includes their family, right? Because we want to make sure that they can live their life financially as they have been, but putting guardrails in so that they don't go too far astray on one side or the other and all of a sudden overspend the trust assets.
Great. So I could go on all day asking tons of questions, because this is how this goes. We will, and other folks will watch this video. I'll be sending folks to watch this video. When folks come and visit with you, what types of things, when you're preparing a trust, what types of things should they bring with them when to start the discussion?
So great lead-in question on that, Lucas. So we have an estate planning questionnaire that we will end up sending them. And that's kind of the jumping off point. We really then, once they bring that into us and send it in beforehand, we sit down with them. That's when the real crafting begins, is they don't really need to bring anything in other than their story and explaining to us where they're at personally and how we can best draft this trust to meet their needs, along with the knowledge of the soon-to-be trustee and your knowledge, right? Which is so important, because we have to understand what the case is and what's coming to help make sure that the right guardrails are put in place to protect them and their family.
So this isn't one size fit all. We're going to lock it up and put it in a box. This is the trust that you set up is the type of thing that can evolve as life changes. And they're not stuck with this completely. If something changes or evolves, it can be managed and taken care of. Is that a good way to put it?
That's a great way to put it, because sometimes, right, we do something today that works for today, but 10 years from now may not work. And that's no different with a trust. We really try not to make trusts so unflexible that they can't be adjusted with time to meet the current needs of the family.
Babies show up, grandbabies show up, life changes, things like that. There are people that you have obligations to that may need your kid, want to send your kid to college. Hey, let's talk about that with the trustee, that type of stuff.
Right. There's a great one. All of a sudden you have a kid. Okay, life has changed. The trustee can help adjust. Kid wants to go to college. Can the trust help with the kid going to college? Right. Those are the things, like you said, that adjust life. And maybe you're into retirement now all of a sudden, and the trust needs to change for that. So yes.
Great, super. So again, not locked in, life changes, the trust gets it. You can make it so it's a little bit flexible. So it is flexible, but smart on the tail end. Is that fair? Fair way to put it?
100%.
Okay, we're talking a 20-25 year game and not a 20-day game. This is a big deal. A lot of resources taking care of it. So
yes, we really want to make sure that the trustee is also incredibly knowledgeable about their duties, because this is so important to the injured person as well as to their family.
Hey, I always ask two crazy questions. I ask my clients to ask every lawyer two questions. Number one, I can tell from your answers, Joel, you like your job. Do you like your job?
Oh, I love it. I love what I get to do. If I didn't have the passion to wake up every day, I wouldn't be in the office at 6 a.m. almost every day, and they're late meeting with clients, meeting with great folks like you to sit down. And I love our meetings when we get to sit down, we get to chat about what's going on, what's new out there, the things we're seeing. And it's what makes us better as not just lawyers, but as humans, right?
Well, I'll tell you what, for what it's worth, Joel Silverman is you don't dance as well as him, but you're the James Brown of Montana lawyers. You are the hardest working man in the legal business that I know of. You every day, 6 a.m., 6 p.m., and then some, going back and forth between here and Bozeman, and staying on top of stuff. But so folks, they'll contact you. Who's the person in your office they're probably going to contact if I'm directing them to your firm to maybe look at some information regarding a trust?
Yeah, absolutely. So what you're normally going to do is you're going to talk to Becky or you're going to talk to Sam, who are our intake specialists, and they're going to talk to you about what you have going on, and they'll get something booked for you with usually myself, but it could also be Chris Walker, one of our other great attorneys. And if you're in Bozeman, I'm over there 2 days a week. Chris is in our Helena office. We have Grant Dixon over in our Bozeman office. He's absolutely fantastic. And so we just have a whole team around us to help take care of people.
Well, great. So hey, Joel, one final thing. If you were not a lawyer, what would you do instead?
In my prior life, I was a fly fishing guide, but I just couldn't
Nice.
make it financially.
You can't live on fish alone. That doesn't work that way. Plus, you have to catch and
No.
release, right?
But it'd sure be fun to go back to doing it.
Well, good. Well, good. Hey, pepper those in with trips on New Year's Day whenever
Yes.
possible. It sounds great. Joel, I'm going to be sending folks to you, and they'll be able to meet in the Bozeman office. Is that right? If they need to, or via Zoom like we are right now?
Absolutely. We can meet in person, Bozeman or Helena, whichever they
Okay.
prefer. We can meet Zoom as well. We have several different avenues to do these online meetings. And it's the technology is so great these days. It's allowed us to do so many different things, especially for special needs clients who either maybe have a difficulty moving somewhere or because they have a diminished physical capacity that they're maybe worried about COVID these days, and they're worried about coming into an actual office. And so we've set everything up to be able to take care of those folks.
Great. Hey, Joel, thank you so much for your time, and congratulations thanks for taking such good care of folks in the past for me. And we look forward to working with you in the future on this. Thanks a ton, Joel. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Lucas. Appreciate